Welcome, everybody. It's been a little bit since I have been able to be on my podcast space. I've been busy running retreats and doing all kinds of great things and meeting some amazing people across our beautiful province of BC. So here I am finding myself back in this beautiful space. I have kind of been following this amazing soul for quite a while in the work that he does. I've got Robin Martin with Bluebird Healing. He's out of Vernon, but comes from France. So this is going to be an exciting journey for all of us to learn of his journey of the work that he does now and where he's headed. And so he's a music healer, a facilitator, a multidisciplinary creative who is devoted to helping people reconnect to themselves through the unique sound experiences. Originally from France. He studied sound engineering. So I guess it's in the field.
Coming back. Yeah.
Right? Spent several years immersed in music and live performances. His path later expanded into coaching and embodied practices before eventually leading him to explore the potential healing of music and sound. Through his own personal journey, he's discovered how deeply sound and voice and music can influence emotional well-being and inner transformation, the coming home to ourselves. Today, through the Bluebird Healing, Robin creates immersive sound journeys that blend intuitive vocals, chants, live instruments, and guided visualizations. His work focuses on the inner child reconnection, that emotional integration, grief support, and heart-centered healing. His approach combines grounded presence with a mystical openness to unseen layers of the human experience. Can't wait to dive in. Rather than pushing for quick fixes, he invites participants into the space of safety, compassion, and deep listening. He believes that when we slow down and we allow ourselves to truly feel, the body naturally knows exactly how to release, to regulate, and to return to that balance. Robin's work is about creating experiences where people can soften, they can reconnect, and they can remember who they truly are. What an honor. I've got goosebumps.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
So
for
good.
joining me and
Sure.
sharing this space. And your journey has just been incredible. I would love to know, you always say I'm not a singer. I've noticed that in some of your
Yeah.
stuff. You're not a singer, you're more of a vocal alchemist, which really is a very beautiful way of helping people to move that energy and to alleviate pain and suffering through the voice, and how that paired with sound and other things like mentioned really helps people to open up. Can you just kind of dive in? Like, how did you get here to doing this amazing work?
Yeah. Okay, so if we go back like way far back, music was pretty much the first real love of my life. I discovered, yeah, I started because I went to a AC/DC show in a big stadium in Marseille when I was 16 or 17 years old, and it blew my mind so massive that it has like awakened something in me. The
Mhm.
how I felt and like the energy of the crowd and everyone and bathing into this experience was so powerful that literally like a few days later I bought a drum kit and I started to play the drum in my parents' garage, making a lot of noise for the neighborhood around, and the journey has kind of started there. I later on, a few years after, started to explore the key. I started to play the keyboards, a little bit of the guitar, and then I started to sing because I was playing with friends, and we were jamming and we were looking for singers, and we could not find anyone. And so at some point, I was like, you know what, I'll give this thing a try. And I started. My girlfriend at the time as well, when I was like 17, 18, she was a singer and she pushed me as well to
Mhm.
sing. And so like both these things, and I started to explore that. And so I started to sing like regular music and that kind of thing when I was like about 18 years old.
Mhm.
And then after high school in France, what I did is that I integrated 2 years into a music slash sound school where I was into the technical sound department. So I learned sound engineering and mostly for like live sound, that kind of thing. I've done a little bit of studio work as well, but I was mainly into the live aspect of things. And so I discovered and did a lot of music from 16, 17 years old up to about 23, 24 years old. That was kind of like the first layer, and then I stopped music for a while. But this was kind of like the first connection I had with it. I I worked in the technical part of like sound and live events and all that stuff from like 19 years old up to 25. And then I turned out a complete fanatic of CrossFit. I
Mhm.
discovered CrossFit, and then it has kind of taken over everything, and I became a CrossFit coach. So I integrated like educational. How do you call that? We call this like physical educator in France. That's the studies I did, and then I worked in CrossFit gyms as a coach back in France for a little bit. And then once I was done with all the studying and everything, I decided to go into another country as far as possible as I could, because I just like intuitively, I knew I needed to move away and get like a fresh breath of air. You know, I had grew up and lived in the same city for up to like 25, 26 years old.
Mhm.
And it was just, I needed something new. And so I looked abroad in different places. I had opportunity in New Zealand, in the UK, and West Canada. Funny enough, West Canada was intuitively, was my first choice.
Yeah.
And the UK was way too close from home. Uh, and I ended up finding this job in Vernon that was at CrossFit Vernon that was looking for a full time coach. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to apply to this. I applied, and we had a few back and forth, a few video call. I sent them a few videos of me coaching and stuff. And then they said, okay, you're hired. And I was like, holy shit, okay. And then I had to go into the journey of getting work permits and all that stuff. That is a pretty heavy thing, but it took me, I think, 4 or 5 months, something like that. And then at some point I had everything, and I took my flight, and overnight I went from there and everything I knew and my family and my friends and my culture and my language to waking up here, Vernon, British Columbia, Canada, uh,
Yeah.
for a whole new journey.
Yeah.
And yeah, this was huge for me. It was pretty crazy. But then through this, I worked at CrossFit Vernon for about 2 years and a half, I think. From the end of 2018, I went through COVID here, and then I stopped. Yeah, in 20 March 2021. A little bit before that, I started to do media work on the side. So, photography, videography, and all that kind of stuff. And basically, this thing has taken over the CrossFit coaching thing. And
Mhm.
then 2021, I started a company that was called, that I still do some things with that today, that's called We Art Media. And I started to
Mhm.
do that full time, doing content. I've done like I have like 3 documentaries on the Optic TV with Telus, with Story Hive. I was doing content for businesses, like videos, photos, all that stuff. I did that like full time for about 2 or 3 years after
Mhm.
CrossFit. And essentially, this is when shit hit the fan. By complete coincidence, I signed up for a hypnotherapy session
Mhm.
with a lady here that was in Vernon, that is not in Vernon anymore, where it was an ad on Instagram, and I saw something that was called like, uh, are you wondering why you're here, or something in these of that kind, like find like why you're here. And this is something that always been in my mind, like this longing, this exploration of like, why on earth am I here? Because I've always felt like kind of out of place, out of anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I did this session, and this session was kind of like the start and the trigger of that. I did what we call an Akashic record
Yeah.
session. So she guided me there. I found my book and did all the stuff, and then throughout maybe like 40 minutes in there, I kind of enter like full channel to what I perceived was my higher self.
Mm-hmm.
And then instantly I would just like know and make sense of so much of my life, so much of the trauma I've had, so much of why my behavior was that. It was like a completely outside perspective that started to make sense of everything, almost not everything, but a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point within the session, she says, yeah, because when I came to the session, she asked me to write some questions that once we get into that space, she will read the question. And one of the questions I wrote was like, where am I from? Where do I come from? Like, am I from here? Am I not from here? Why am I here? And all that stuff. And so at some point she asked like, show Robin where he's from. And in this, so I was in complete like hypnosis, and I could see when I closed my eyes, I see visuals and stuff like that. And as she asked this, I see in front of me some sort of portal opening, and I look into it and I see this kind of like, it was visibly not this world we're in. It was something else. And then I could see just like big huge trees and like some sort of path just in front of me. And then I look on the left, and on the left on the path, like pretty far, I can see, and it was the first time I saw them, I could see like this kind of like tall blue beings, super slim, radiating this blue light, and with the face of a, that has the face of a, like a bird, but not really a bird, but like a beak instead of like a face.
Yeah.
But from very far, and he was standing just like not moving at all, like standing like that. And it was the first time I saw that, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? Um, and so the session was this, and then everything closed, and we stopped, and I didn't get further than that. But after this session, I had some sort of crown opening, and for 2 weeks I was like it was like insane. I had the feeling that I was on drug or something. For 2 weeks I didn't sleep that much, I didn't eat that much, and it was like I would get like download after download, and it was absolutely insane. Zero grounding. I was just like, it was some sort of awakening,
Yeah.
which I had prior to that. I don't know if I can touch on this, but I had my first one when I was in my early 20s through other things. So I was
Yeah.
already a little bit open into the spirit world and all that stuff, but it was never something I really was tapping into. It was something I was putting in the back because I don't really come from that world, and no one in my surrounding or family or where I'm from is into this. So it has always been
Mm-hmm.
something that is very that is not expressed at all.
Yeah.
And so that was the first thing that happened. Within these 2 weeks, I did a lot of purging. I did so much. I did pretty crazy things. Like I filmed videos that I put on YouTube where I talk about everything that I'm ashamed of, where I say things that I had never said, where
Yeah.
I admit things that I thought I was gonna take to the grave. It really made me. It felt like for 2 weeks, like they put my ego on the side, and just my soul was just like purging everything. I have like chills as I'm saying this.
Oh, I know. Absolutely. Yeah.
And then after 2 weeks, everything closed. Everything closed, and I went downward, and it was like almost some sort of a depressive state for maybe like a month. And then a friend of mine messaged me, Meredith Turner. I don't know if you know her. She's a breathwork instructor in Vernon, and she said, "Hey, like I've seen everything you did. Like, come on for a breathwork session because I think you need it." I did need it. At that point, I had never done any breathwork session, and so this was really the turning point. I went there, I did a breathwork session, and I had, within maybe like 20 minutes, I had a complete out of body experience where now I was fully into this world I was seeing through the Akashic record.
Yeah.
And I wake up there, and now there are like dozens and dozens of them all around me, and I see their face like fully around, and they as I appear, they all like put their hands on me. And then I start to see the scene from like above and around, and there was like circles and circles and circles of them. And then I start to cry for I don't know how long. And it was like, this was the one of the most insane experience of my life. I felt like, I don't even know how to explain how I felt. Like, it really made me feel, I don't even want to say like it felt like home, but it felt like a place where uh, so much unconditional support and love, and like almost, yeah, this, wow, like I vibe with this, like I can be here, and this is awesome. And then within the session,
It
yeah,
would be like home though, because your soul
yeah,
is home. You're home within
hmm,
yourself. You're not existing outside of that. You've literally come in to be able to see that, to experience that. You have to be very anchored and connected deep
hmm,
within. And that it's like that soul remembering. And it's cleared all of this stuff out of your way through this process to see
yeah,
that.
totally.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, it was insanely powerful. And then, so just what happened is that then I do multiple things, and like we fly in the sky, and this whole place is like beautiful, and they're like floating island and this pink sky, and there's like a lake and a waterfall and crazy huge trees, like and then I see a CD as well, like in the back. I mean, it's pretty incredible. And then at some point, so I come back, the session ends, and I go back home. I drive my car, and it pops in my head like the bluebird, that this is what I'm gonna do and I have to do. I had no idea what it was going to be. I remember driving home straight from that, like creating the thing like on Canva, creating my logo, the bluebird, registering the business, and all that stuff. And then I was like, okay, now what? And I
yeah,
didn't do anything with it for at least, this was like early in the year, like March or something like that. And the whole year almost has passed without doing anything about it, because I didn't know what I was going to do about it until like almost like November, December of this same year.
hmm,
Um, I think also like with what has happened, I needed so much integration. Like this was just so intense that I
yeah,
needed to just come back down for a second, and anchor the experience to understand and just integrate it, because I had done like so much purging and shedding that
yeah,
like my identity was all over the place, and I was completely, part of my ego was completely lost in the middle of all that.
hmm,
And then the final thing was I did a psilocybin journey in November, and poof, it has reopened everything and just gave me, it's just shown me the music, like the music was there, and it has showed me that it's almost like I had a conversation with music, and it was like, you can use me to create like an experience and make people feel things. And it's kind of what happened within the journey. I could hear music, and I would see different images. I could hear different stories, and it was pretty clear that it was something that I was going to, okay, like that's a breadcrumb that I can use to start doing this. And
yeah,
then I just started to apply that, and just not at all like professionally speaking, but just with people around, to make them listen something and narrate something, or a connection to something. And when I started to do that, like everyone would have like crazy emotional release. And it started like that, with just using music that is already done and tuning them to something, to a memory,
Mhm.
and understanding like music is such a great facilitator to allow people to just feel these things and release them. And so that's kind of how it started. And yeah, and then so this was the end of 2023, November, December. And yeah, started like that. That's kind of like the background, more or less.
Yeah.
uh,
Well, it's a crazy journey. And right now what's popping in, and I saw you share this too, is in the coldness, in the winter time, going to the water, going to the lake, and just literally screaming and just vocalizing, like moving this energy, bringing it up and out. And I love that piece because I mean, for one, I love to be out in nature and I love to cold dip. I love all those things, but watching you be in that space and share that and why you did that to open up your voice to, like you said, there's no right way really to do it. You just knew you needed to get it out, and you could feel the emotion, the layers, the years of stuff that's been kind of tucked away and
mm,
packed away. So when you were out there doing it, and nature is so incredible, it receives us for who we are. There's no judgment, there's no any of that stuff.
yeah.
And I could just see you on that dock at the edge of the lake and you're in the cold and you're like, I'm releasing this, and
Mhm.
so I can make space for this beautiful work that I'm doing. And so I was really intrigued to, was that part of your cold dip, nature connection experience? That's where you felt the most safe to be able
Mm.
to release this? Is that kind of how you got, or you just intuitively went and did this?
So this started to happen. Remember, like in these 2 weeks after the hypnotherapy, when I was purging a lot of things, it happened within these 2 weeks,
Okay.
and it came out. It came out intuitively. So prior to that, I was already cold plunging. I started to
Yep.
cold plunge in 2022.
Okay.
And so I was going to the lake and stuff like that. And then in that crazy state, I went like cold plunging, and then went on the dock. And then instinctively, as I was here, and with the adrenaline of the cold, and I was in that crazy space where I was not even like, and it's just like it bursted out naturally.
Yeah.
I think that state, what that state allowed it me, is to really remove any mask for temporarily, and really
Yeah.
just like, because I couldn't care the hell less. And I did like yell and scream in places where there was like people around and that kind of thing. Like I was really tapping into something beyond the mask, and it was not, like, it was not a conscious choice from my ego. My ego was just like in the blur on the side for this moment.
Yeah.
And yeah, this has changed my life, like the screaming part. And this is something that I do, that I integrate as well now in some session. I've done that a lot with people, either in one-on-one or with groups of creating experience, where people are going to scream, and there's this whole process to really tune in to where you want that scream to come from. But yeah, it started naturally, it's just there. It's almost like you said, it's like nature was like,
Yeah. Just
let it
out.
out, let it
Yeah.
out. And
And
yeah,
that's,
this is, yeah,
yeah. It,
it has changed my life, because it's so much
mm,
fear of expression.
yeah.
This was a huge block, and I was imprinted when I was like 10, 11 years old. I was bullied because I was overweighted, and I had a few different experiences that really shut me down. And so I carried so much shame, and I've developed, when I was a teenager and young adult, the crazy eating disorders and body dysmorphia, and I carried until I
Mm,
was like 30 years old, when this happened, like 31, I think. So much shame and fear, and computing power into protecting the mask, the layers, the wall, into not really offering the vulnerability and the expression, and the movement, and not making too much noise, and staying hidden. Like, this was a big program in me, like don't make
mhm.
too much noise, stay hidden. all that stuff. And so it has really like opened this in a way that nothing else has done it. Like it has really changed
Hmm.
my life completely. Just screaming as loud as I could with no care as like
Yeah.
opened so much.
Well, and like you said, I mean, it was something that you never felt as a child, like you not belonging, not fitting in, not of this
Mm-hmm.
world, not yourself. And we are taught to very much um, conform and kind of fit in, and people try to put us in this box, and we don't really fit in a box,
Mm-hmm.
but we try to please and we try to do all these things and we try to, you know, do it even though there's a little piece of us that's calling us, that's like, no, no, you don't fit here, come on, come on. And it's,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that 0 to 5, 0 to 4, you're like the most authentic, real, raw, untethered version
Mm-hmm.
of who you are, really are on this. Like you come in and that is where it is, and then we kind of go through these different experiences and different parts of life, and it just takes us on these kind of detours away from that essence and from that true self, which I
Yeah.
think part of it's meant to, so that when we come back to it, we have this remembrance, this really deep, like, oh shit, I've been, yes, right, thank you
Mm-hmm.
for the reminder, here I am again. And it makes the work that we do more powerful. I don't know if you find that, but all the experiences that you've been through, that you've just shared, and many more, it makes what you do with people and what you share so much more powerful and impactful, and it just takes you deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper every time.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, because it comes from the experience of it. Like it comes
Yeah.
from you first. You've experienced that, and then with the integration you've done and the embodiment you've done, now you're able to carry it and offer it to others as experience, right? But yeah, it
Yeah.
comes from really, yeah, it's sparked by you first experience the thing. And I think it's always like that it's
Mm.
supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
um but yeah.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful, incredible journey. I want to circle back to the cold plunging,
For
because
sure.
through some of the hardest chapters of my life, without even knowing what I was doing, I started cold dipping in the lakes. And we live in the Lakes District. We've got 3,000 lakes. Can't reach them all, but that gives you an idea. I
Mm-hmm.
grew up not far from a lake on a big farm, and we'd always challenge each other, like whoever's the first in the spring can get in the lake. As the ice is just going off the lake, who can get in? I was always the one like, yeah, I'll jump
Mm-hmm.
in. I've got this. Never really thought of it. And then when things like with anxiety and depression, grief was a big one. Like just these big pivotal changes in my life, I just was automatically, for the last 8 years, 9 years now, just going to the lakes. I'm like, I'm just going to go and I'm going to get in. And it's cold when you're going into a 0 degree water that's not quite frozen, but it's cold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's, you literally have to be at home in yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
can't be existing out here. You need to
Yeah.
be so present with yourself. And it's a very meditative state to be in, because you're practicing breath, you're practicing presence. It's very intentional. Um, because when you get into that cold water, and not, I know women and men are different, so they can handle different depths. I love the cold because I'm always a warm person anyway, so drop me into
Mm-hmm.
0 degree, I'm okay, got
Mm-hmm.
it. I've been up to 12 minutes in 0 degree water and I love it, it's amazing. But what I didn't realize when I started doing it, I had no idea why. I just answered the call and I just started doing it and doing it and doing it. And now I realize why.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in another lifetime I was connected to the water in a very different way, or lived in the water, whether I was a dolphin or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's definitely those soul connections. And I think sometimes, I don't know how that was for you, but I there feels like there was a very deep connection. It brought you very deep within yourself, super intentional. You spoke a bit about the Wim Hof, which,
Mm-hmm.
the breath and the cold together. And I know his story is quite impactful and powerful. And I really
Yeah.
connected with his story of why he got into it as well. So what was it for you when you first really started? I know it was, you kind of challenged yourself
Yeah.
in that. So I would love to hear what that journey was for you. And obviously you're still continuing that today.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I initially I have a friend from here who's a chiropractor who is a Wim Hof instructor. And so through a documentary project, I was filming a documentary on him, like I had a whole episode on him and this. And when we were talking about it, he was like, "Well, before if you're gonna make a documentary about it, like you need to try it." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. Let's do it." And the first time I didn't try it, but we went to the creek in BX, and it was cold as hell. It was the end of winter, 2022, I believe. And so I'm here and I'm filming this guy who just like undresses in the snow, walking, and then the creek at that time was even below zero with the current. He had his like gun to get in it, and it was like minus three, or I didn't even know like the water could be below zero, but if there's strong movement, it can apparently. But anyway, it was very cold. And so I'm filming this guy, and he walks down into this creek, well, like no emotion, no pain, nothing. He's just walking, breathe out, and just like stay in the water like that. And like seeing this just blew my mind so much. I was like, how is this even possible? And I just kind of was able to see that like if like this level of like control and acceptance and embracing like this pain without being like, oh my god, what was so huge that I was like, I could right away feel that there must be so much benefits that you can transfer into your life, into being more calm and accepting like pain and things like that. And so I saw that for one time, and then I was like, okay, let's try it. And I tried it with him within a Wim Hof workshop. It was the first time I tried it, and yeah, it was wild. I thought I was gonna die on the first one I did. It was just like a nice bath in something with like ice and water,
Yeah.
and it was just like the whole thing. I was just like shivering, like couldn't stop to shiver. And I was like, what the fuck? And it was really really cool. And then right after that, I bought a like a chest freezer that I
Yeah.
turned it into a cold plunge. And then the day after, I was oh no, before that I bought a plastic bin at Home Depot or something where I could just like fit in like that, and then I put water in it, and then I started like right after that, and I started and I did it every day for like the first year I did it. I was like every day in the water, and I had yeah this little bin and then the chest freezer, and then going to the creek and the lake, and I really I don't it's hard to say, like I really loved it, and I'm not sure if there was a side of me that enjoyed the pain, because the pain would bring me out of any other issues or things that my mind, because I have a really really busy mind, like I'm neurodivergent. It goes everywhere and
Again,
anywhere 24/7. So I guess
yeah.
like the first thing is the relief within the pain, exactly like you said, is like you can't be anywhere else, and just like coming back here. And I just yeah, I just loved the experience of the challenge, and I loved how it made me feel afterward. And it was just a big part also of like exploring something that is like outside of the norm and that looks like pretty crazy from the outside. Like the curiosity, the what it brought me, like in this mental peace, and how I felt afterward. Like it was a mix of all that that
Mhm.
really made me stick to it. And at the beginning, and I'm always like that, like I discover something and I'm a fan, like, and I do it a lot, a lot, and then it's a little less, and then I like it and I integrate it into my lifestyle, and I'm a little less obsessed with that, and I'm not, oh my god, I didn't cold pleasure today, and and it's then coming today is something that just that I do, and it's like in my lifestyle, but I'm not anymore like obsessed with it.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's but yeah, that was kind of the story of how I came to that. I love it. It's so good. I find there's so much. I really like that it can really, in retrospect, for me, I think it has helped me feeling more calm. Like I feel like the baseline of my system is just like more calm, and that's a big part of it. It allows you to really, it really challenges you into what it means to like surrender into a situation you can't do anything about it. Yes, it hurts and it's miserable when you're in there until a certain point, and it's really a teacher of that.
Mhm.
You're there, it hurts, but there's nothing you can do than using the breath and focusing on like your presence and breathing. And yeah, it's such a cool teacher.
It is, and I mean, then again, you can loop that back around to nature being the teacher.
Yeah.
Even that creek, the water, the moving water, all these pieces. Like I've done it in waterfalls, creeks, rivers, the ocean, all the different lakes. Like everywhere I go, I try to experience something just to feel, because different bodies of water offer something very different. And
Absolutely.
then
Yeah.
you can have your controlled body of water, which is your cold plunge tub or whatever, which is also a very different experience than
Yeah,
sitting in a lake or sitting in a moving body of water or
for
laying
sure.
in it. And I feel like a lot of times that we want to, like you said, run from the pain. And it's not even just in that sense, but in life, when things get tough and they get hard
Hmm.
and they're overwhelming. I think we're seeing that a lot with people now, is they some people are tired of running.
Hmm.
They're exhausted, they're overwhelmed, they don't know which way to turn. And I think, going through these, experimenting with these different things. I'm neurodiverse as well in all ways. And so I can really relate to that. It's like this hyper focus. I want to like learn everything about it. I'm going to dive in. I'm going to like do it. And then
Hmm.
I'm going to take it to the people, and
Yeah.
I've actually guided people, some of the lakes here, some people with really severe trauma, like
Hmm.
horrible big traumas. And I've literally guided them, held their hand, walked in. We've been face to face, eye to eye, just crying together, breathing together. And literally before they know it, we're in the water and we're sitting there, standing there, just holding hands. And I'm just breathing with them. And they're just, you can just see them releasing all of this to the water. And
Hmm.
that's the same like you were doing when you were sharing your voice and yelling. And when you're in the water, you're sharing, the tears, the emotion, that pain, that stuff that's been tucked away. The
Yeah.
water is just taking that and dissipating it and just putting it out there. It's like, it's okay. You
Hmm.
can let it go to me. And it's the same with the forest or the wherever you are in nature. I love to go out into the woods far enough away people won't think I'm being attacked by a bear, but just same thing,
Hmm.
just screaming. And if there's mountains, having that echo come back to me, like let it go out and let it bounce back, and it bounces back different. The energy has
Hmm.
changed and shifted. So I think that's the beautiful thing about what you're doing and experimenting with all these different pieces, is that you kind of were in two different worlds where you were kind of separate from things, and now you've kind of found a way to make this world work and how to share that. You're kind of
Hmm.
merging all of these gifts and these pieces that you've experienced and seen and been open to. And I feel like for you, it's daily. They're opening more and more and more. And you're just kind of like,
Hmm.
okay, I'm showing up. I'm showing up. I'm, going in all these directions, which is, I think most of us are a neurodiverse of some sort, because we have to
Hmm.
be
Yeah.
to do this
Totally.
work. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fascinating. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah, it's quite a journey. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is, like, you've got groups, and like you said, you do individuals as well, and I know you've got
Hmm.
a few really cool events coming up and some things in the fall that you've just recently been asked to do. So, you're working with, all different groups, men and women. Do you do any work with, have you done any with youth at all as well?
No, I've never
No.
done anything specifically for youth. I've never done anything specifically for one category of people, except I have a retreat coming up. It's not out yet, but I have a retreat coming up in August for men only with two other guys.
Okay.
But since the beginning, it has always been just like open to anyone so far, but I haven't worked with youth specifically. I feel like it's been, I've had like a couple opportunities and conversation like throughout this past couple of years with a few people about that. I feel like I will come to this at some point,
Yeah.
especially in the expressing and like playing instrument and drums and yell and stuff like that. That's what would be coming up. I haven't got to it yet, but
Yeah.
I know that it's on the list somewhere for sure.
Well, the seed's been planted somewhere, so it
Hmm.
comes when it's meant to, right? So
Yeah.
another thing I think that I would love to touch base with you on is
Hmm.
we are in June, which is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month,
Hmm.
which is really powerful. There's a lot of talk around suicide, around depression, anxiety, overwhelm, burnout, carrying these heavy loads of expectations and just not being able to carry things anymore. And I know that every 60 seconds we are losing someone to suicide. We're losing a brother, a husband, an uncle, a father, a whatever.
Yeah.
And I just get full body goosebumps over this because I've known people close to me that have taken this path. And I know recently you've shared some really powerful stuff about that, and how can the work that you're doing and some of the stuff that we've really talked about, how can that help somebody who's literally sitting on the edge going, I don't know where else to go. I have no answers. I can't do this anymore. I can't put this load down. I'm literally on the edge of jumping.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a big one.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, when like the first thing I'm trying to say is that it's never you don't want to end yourself, but you want to end the experience that the self is having. So
Yeah.
the way I like to see this, it all comes down to, we said that at the beginning of the this conversation, is that you grew up in a world that is going to put you in a box. Like, we don't offer a lot of options. We have a society with societal norm. We have an educational system. We have all this culture that is going to just offer us a way, and this
Hmm.
is the way to be a normal, well functioning um, human in this society. The
Yeah.
problem is that this way, for a lot of people, is not resonating with our true self and who we are and what your soul is there to experience. So
Hmm.
what we do is that we disregard and shut down like our authentic expression and our authentic desire of experiencing maybe this
Hmm.
side of life, and not maybe what the society will tell me. I'm a man, I need to do that. And so we're really are living so far out of alignment to who we are, to fit and to check these boxes and be in this way of thinking and being, that this is what a man is and does,
Hmm.
that at some point this misalignment creates so much aching in your heart, in your
Hmm.
whole being. And the main problem is that then we still, as we're aching and we're thinking about that and we're on the edge about that, we have not the ability to think outside of this box we were put in. And this is
Hmm.
where there's no other way than death. And the only thing we need to figure out and to express and to raise the awareness is that there's another way outside of this box. You can bring down the box and then go explore and go around and create
Hmm.
different experiences. And it's very hard when we don't have this capacity to see through the mask, to see through the conditioning, to see through this society that is really offering this way of being, and to accept and have the really go inward and accept that maybe this way is not meant for me, maybe this is not resonating, and I need to go about another way. The problem is the conditioning is so hard that, one, people don't see and know and are aware that there is another way, and
Yeah.
two, going into another way requires us to
Mm.
like tap into this fear of being different, of diverging, of losing things, right? Because when I have constructed a life that was all to fit in and to please the society, and suddenly I realize it doesn't resonate anymore, and I want to go do this, I'm gonna have to lose a certain amount of things. Things will fall apart, and it's a normal and natural how do you say it, reaction that
Mhm.
has to happen. So there's whole this fear and shame as well on the diverging from a path of changing that prevents people to really do that, because I think it's the way when we reach these points, and I mean I'm talking for myself, and maybe there are different things, but I really feel like it comes out of this. I've been conditioned, and I've fulfilled what my conditioning has made me do. But now, just the life I've experienced is so far out of who I am that I don't want to be here. It's not my life. And so, yeah, it's about, well, then I'm gonna change the experience. I need to disrupt, and there's difficulties and walls into disrupting with like everything I said. The seeing that is there's even a way to disrupt. Like some people, I can't even see that. Like this is
Mhm.
life. This is how I am. This is how I need to do these things. No, this is the world you live in that has offered you a way that was, by the way, decided by a handful of men that has decided one day, hey guys, like this is how we're gonna be, this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna
Mhm.
work that way. We're gonna, this society and capitalism and all that stuff is going to be this way, but it is not the way. It is a way among so many other ways that life and human
Mhm.
beings could happen. So it's about really understanding that and regaining your power into it's your life. And yes, changing your life is going to require you to lose some things, yes, but
Mhm.
losing things, losing relationship, losing money, losing places, losing friends will always be better, in my opinion, than losing your life.
Mhm.
Because you can always start from scratch. Even if you lose, even if, let's say, you lose everything, you still here, you still have this body, you can still breathe, you can still figuring out. And the thing is, like, from a more of a spiritual perspective, I would say, um, once you've let go of all these things that were not for you, that were just out of the conditioned mask, you start to be more into your own frequency. And once you let go of this, like, even if you lose it all, chances are you're likely to then attract the things that now, as I have
Mhm.
chills, as I said, that now are resonating. And
Yeah.
also, like, at some point we need to realize this thing, like, do you, like, you need it's, yeah, it's always better to do, who cares about losing things, uh right? Like, you really, do you really want to lose your life instead of just like a few material things or some relationships? And yes, that hurts, and yes, that can be very dark and complicated, but you're still here figuring it out.
Mhm.
Almost sometimes I like to see it that way, like, we all gonna die anyway. Like, this life ends and I'm gonna die at some point, and I don't know when. And yes, sometimes I don't want to be here, but let's just it's gonna happen anyway. There's nothing I can do. So let's
Mhm.
allow myself to live, to take risk, to explore, to see what this experience has to offer me, regardless of the experience I go through. And give me a chance to just like breathe this air and be here and fulfill why am I here, because there's always a reason why we're here.
Yeah.
uh, and then, dying, it will happen at some point for everyone.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, and finding a support system,
Mhm.
that like, if you're not doing well and you need to disrupt some things in your life, like, it's okay to express that and have and try to find people that can support you into changing.
Yeah.
But it's always that to me. And again, I don't know everything, it's just like a personal experience, but to me, it's this strongly is I'm holding together all this life that takes everything out of me because it's not in alignment with who I am.
Mhm.
And it's just like, becomes insufferable that the
Mhm.
only thing we need is drop it, removing the mask. This is not me. Maybe I'm that, so I'm gonna try this,
Yeah.
and allowing people to do that.
Yeah. Well, and I think, you also talked about, healing being that rewiring and integration and not trying to fix somebody. You're not there
Mm-hmm.
to tell them to be a certain way. We have enough of that in society. And I think creating these safe spaces, like you said, where, and I do the same as well, where people can arrive as who they are and the invitation to put it down, to step into this safe and sacred space and show up in their most vulnerable, authentic version, and people are arriving into our spaces as one version of themselves, and they're returning and leaving out of these spaces as this new expanded version of who they are. And we kind of get to walk that journey alongside of so many people. And I love that rewiring, because that's what we're doing, and
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to to say, what, I'm floundering. I can't do this. I don't know where to turn, but I saw, so and so. I'm going to reach out to that. If somebody resonates, knowing that there are so many more now, and coming faster too, so many more safe spaces. You
Mm-hmm.
know, send that direct message, that email, that phone call, whatever, is knock on the door. Like, it's okay to ask for help. And I think we're starting to see more and more people understand how powerful it is, because I know how hard that is to say,
Mm-hmm.
I can't do this anymore. I need help. I don't know what I need, but I just need something.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much power in that one little thing. To, you don't look at a huge mountain and think, oh my God, how am I ever going to get to the top? You start at the
Mm-hmm.
bottom, and step by step, you wander the path and you take the journey. And before you know it, you're at the top, and you're not quite sure how you got there, but you trusted the path. You
Yeah.
trusted the things that were coming at you and towards you. And it's okay to meander and to wander and to, explore all these different pieces. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's, if we can give anybody an invitation, is to just say, even if it's just help, or whatever, one word, one simple thing. You don't know why you're saying it, but you do. Your soul does.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have that inner calling, that inner knowing in our heart and our soul. And sometimes, I mean, like I said, we have that really a present when we're very, very young, and then we stuff it away. We don't trust that intuition, we don't trust that call, we don't trust that pull. And then we come back to that, and we're helping people to teach them again to,
Mm-hmm.
you know to understand that, to know that, to listen to that, because that is our truth deep inside of us, that we've,
Yeah.
very much put armor around, and we've
Mm-hmm.
protected from all these things, right? So yeah, it's powerful work and beautiful work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very.
It's so necessary. I mean, the problem
Yeah,
is like everything is driven by so much fear, right? Like that's how we're
yeah,
conditioned as well. We do everything out of fear from the start. School, you need like to do well in school, not because for the curiosity and the sake of learning and developing, but because otherwise you'll have a bad job or you'll be in the street, or like it's just like everything, right, is tied to this fear. So we have this natural instinct to protect and do to spark our actions and behavior by the fear of the consequence of if I don't do this thing, and then
yeah,
this is just perpetuated, and then the next thing you know, you're an adult and you're deep in your life, and everything you've ever built is not because of a calling, but it's to not experience what I am afraid of.
mhm,
And that, I think, is the big underlining issue, an elephant in the room we have in this society, is that no one, like so many people, like what we need is just being able to take a breath and lower all these protection just for a second,
yeah,
and just look at each other and be like okay? Are we enjoying this? Is this okay for us, the people, and not the people that are running
Yeah.
this society, but for all of us, billions of people? Like, what are we even doing here? Do we want to still continue this rat race? Do we want to like create something new for the future? Do I want to perpetuate this way of living? Do I want to live in this fear with this mask, with completely all the time like scanning spaces to know how I'm supposed to be, how can I behave, what can I say, what can't? Like there's this huge, like bubble that like the soul of everyone wants to burst and just like be in this
Yeah.
this just allowing, right? There's so much block in this
Yeah.
society. We just want to allow, and that's, I feel like, what I'm trying to do, and what we're trying to do as facilitators in these places, is just to allow, just to
Yeah.
allowing. It's okay. We all have fear, doubt, some sort
Yeah.
of traumas in a way. We all have shame. We all have grief. We all have these things, and we just spend time putting it down and just have a smile, and yeah, everything is fine.
Mm.
And then you lay down, you put some music, something, and everything explodes, because it's just we don't allow this thing. Uh, so if we can just allow it.
Yeah.
No one is perfect. Everyone has a dark side, a good side. This is how makes us as human. And if we can just do a little less hiding, and those who have the courage to do that and survive it, then share it with others, and then we're all able to a little more lower the walls, lower the shields, lower the mask, and just be. Because like the thing, this is where healing happens. Like there's no need to do crazy things. We just need like presence with all the parts of ourselves, and not
Yeah.
being shamed into places, not being attacked, just like presence, pure presence and love and acceptance with everything. And you start to realign like distorted part, or the parts you want to hide, or that are hurt. They just want to be allowed to express and to have some presence, awareness, and love. That's all we need. Then no matter the modality a facilitator used to bridge this love, acceptance, this non-judgmental presence, and compassion, whether it is, whatever it is. I use music, or people use breath. Like there's so many modalities are just the bridge that is going to channel through this presence, this love, this acceptance, and this is where the healing happens, right? And just like sitting and allowing things to be there and be there with them, and just that like starts to help realign the system, destroy this little distortion we have, that this, I should be ashamed of that, or this is not good enough, or I don't look good enough, or all these things. Just allowing acceptance and love we need in that.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's powerful. I mean, and I think
yeah.
both you and I and so many others are, we're really trusting and leading with our hearts, leading with love, leading with that openness. We've, and knowing how powerful it is to,
Mhm.
surrender in those spaces, to be able to bring that stuff out, and it's kind of like, I have this idea of, you're kind of going in and you're sweeping all of this stuff that's been
Mhm.
tucked in the nooks and crannies and the dark spaces within you, and we're bringing that all together, and we're bringing it up outside of ourselves, and dissipating that through whatever modality, and sometimes we've been carrying this for lifetimes. I mean, you've done your Akashic records, so when you start looking at our soul's journey, some of the shit that we carry, that's not even ours.
Mhm.
It can be other people's stuff, it can be lineage backwards, like,
Yeah,
and when we're really
for
healing
sure.
ourselves, we're healing 7 generations back and seven
Mhm.
generations forward.
Yeah.
And that fascinates me because, you think of this, this bright light that is you, is whoever is in the healing, and how that radiates out. Like, when we hold our groups, we go and do seminars or teachings or things like that, we're with a small group of people, but those people are going to take that and
Mhm.
they're going to expand it out,
So
and
much.
all over the world people are doing something like we're doing.
Mhm.
So it is, to wrap your head around the fact that, we might be little and mighty, but it's spreading far beyond what we could even imagine.
100%.
And that for me is super fascinating because it's
Mm-hmm.
that the frequency, the resonance, that all the things, right? We don't always know why we are where we are doing what we're doing, but we trust
Totally.
the calling, we trust the knowing. I've recently picked up a drum, and well, Sean inspired me from New Earth Healing to I've played his drum a numerous times, and I'm like, dude, that thing like resonates through me. I
Mm-hmm.
want one,
For
and
sure.
so I was like, well, I gotta have one of these.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been taking it out, and I've been getting to know it. I've been going to the lakes, I've been going to all the places I go, and I've been playing it. And
Nice.
it is so fascinating to just, and I'm still not quite there yet, I'm getting there, but
Mm-hmm.
literally surrendering, going, oh, like, okay, oh yeah, there's nobody
Mm-hmm.
around, nobody's judging me, nobody's gonna say I'm doing it right or wrong. I'm literally stripping, I can feel myself putting those judgments to the side. And it's like, when you're going through water and you're breaking the water, it's
Yeah.
that it feels like that,
Mm-hmm.
for me, because it's just like, oh, but that person's better at drumming, or that person can sing, or, like you said, all these beliefs and
For
this
sure.
bullshit that comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fascinating to meet yourself as you start to really push those aside and go, actually, no, you have no power over me. You don't get to be here,
Mm-hmm.
and you just start working your way through that, and you show up and you get into these spaces, and you're just like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know,
The
it's just like,
freedom. The
yeah.
freedom. Yeah, for sure. No, 100%. Yeah, that's so good.
And it's so mind blowing that it's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, just accept the invitation.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
accept an invitation to a birthday party or to a gathering or to something else. Why don't you accept the invitation to yourself
Exactly.
and to
Yeah.
that self discovery? You know?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's a huge one. And I mean, you
Yeah.
just have to accept to like, you know, I was gonna say you have to accept to suck when you start something or at the beginning, and removing the conditioning that it has to be a performance or it has to be good, and what is even good. We always have like it's always, yeah, we don't want to be seen as not doing something perfectly. Like perfectionism is a big thing. Like I myself as well had that a lot, and I still have pieces of this that I'm working through. Uh, but it's just also understanding like actually no one cares, like no one
Yeah.
cares. And if
No.
someone care, like it just let them, like it's just
Let them.
because it's something outside of their belief system, or unfamiliar. And there's so much power, like you said, there's so much power. And I realized that when I started to post video of me yelling and stuff, there's so much power that with just like staying there as you're witnessing this thing of like there are external people looking at you, and you're like shit, like people are looking at me doing something that's unusual, and we want to stop. Like if you can
Yes.
just not stop and let it happen and just breathe through this moment where you feel the shame and you feel people looking at you, if you can just breathe through this moment, you will see that nothing will happen. Like this world keeps turning regardless of how much shame or fear I feel, like everything, and people go on with their days because everyone has their own life. So like shame is just this invitation to breathe with it and to welcome it. It's just because, oh, I have this fear that someone is going to see me a certain way. People will see you a certain way for 5 seconds, and then they're back in their own bullshit, they're back in their own life, back in their own issues. Like with so much of this cage we put ourselves on, but you're free. No one is preventing us to do anything. Like I can go right now in the street, go in the middle of the road and just yell if I want. No one will do anything about it, right? It's just our own like
Yeah.
yeah, the thing like you are doing with the drum and stuff, it's so good because it teaches us that, and it allows, again, back to the allowing things to
Yeah.
happen, right? Yeah.
One of the favorite things that I always think about, and I always say to people too, is, be scared shitless and show up anyway. And
Yeah.
that's very, very much, I think, with this work, and it's also with anything that anyone's coming to do when they're ready and they've been pulled to step into that. You're going to be scared shitless. You are in all levels. You're going to be worried about all the things out there. but showing up anyway is so incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never seen anyone regret that.
For sure.
Whether they see, something you've shared and like, man, I got to make that phone call. I need to work with Robin. I've got to. I need to know more. Maybe they
Mm-hmm.
just want to have a conversation, or they want to go to a retreat, they want to go to an event, and it's just like there's a reason that has been sprinkled into your life for a very specific reason. You don't have to know the whys. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to know all the answers. I think we also feel like that in society. We have to know all the
Totally.
things, and if we don't, nobody
Mm-hmm.
says, right? and
Totally.
and I think so when we can just trust and do your homework. If you're interested in working with somebody or going somewhere, do your homework, hop on a phone call with that person, get to know, like, feel their energy, have that exchange. Because you do want to go into safe places,
Mm-hmm.
obviously,
Yeah.
because when you're ready to go on this journey, and it's a windy one, if there's no straightforwardness to it, but when you're ready to go on
Mm-hmm.
it, you want to know that you're entering safe and sacred places that people are creating for you. And I think, that's really important,
Yeah. For
for,
sure.
people to understand that. Like, we're very
Mm-hmm.
passionate about what we do and why we do it and how we do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It allows to at least start, right? Because like you
Yeah.
can go to any kind of places, do things, but when you're starting and when you have all these layers of sensitive things and trauma, like you
Hmm.
you you want to do the first step, which
Yeah.
is going into this controlled, safe, from the heart created container space where people are really
Yeah.
here to help you. That's huge, and then it evolves, and then eventually you go to other places. But yeah, it's an important part, because the thing is, safety is the foundation of any kind of healing like that. If you don't feel safe, like, you won't be able to go as deep as you need. It can work like that. You're even like, and just unconsciously, your system is not gonna let you go into the memories, into the things, and into these deep layers. And there's nothing we can do about it, right? So, like, finding people with who you feel safe uh,
Yeah.
is the primary thing. It matters more than the actual modality people are
Yeah.
using it. I've always felt that.
Yeah.
And the thing is that then, because I mean, there's everything and anything within also, like, the healing space, right? Like, we live in a world where there's really a lot of things, but the problem with safety, and this is where I find it can be the limitation of some regular therapy thing and talking therapy, is that you can never make someone feel safe by just saying, hey, like, hey, you're safe with me, you can be vulnerable. uh,
Yeah.
by just, like, speaking these words, like, safety is something that's felt. It's like an energy that you radiate, and it's
Hmm.
it's you can't make someone feel safe by just offer them, hey, you can be safe. You had to have gone through the journey yourself, to have created enough safety within yourself, to have cleared the shame yourself of being vulnerable yourself, so that you can offer a non-judgmental, compassionate observation and hand onto someone that is vulnerable with you here. It's not something we can't fake, and we just like, oh, now I'm a facilitator and I provide safety. No, there's
Yeah.
so much you have to go through yourself. And I think, something that a big thing is to imagine, with someone you work with, or if you as the facilitator, I'm not saying that you have to do it, but I'm saying you need to have the capacity to yourself reach the level and the depth of vulnerability and authenticity you're asking people to go, and you are holding space for yourself with these people. So, like, in other words, like, you need, as the facilitator, to be able and to have cleared all the shame of maybe break down and cry on the floor right here, and to have all your clients or the people that you work with looking at you, and you'd be fine with that. Like, you need to reach that. I'm not saying you have to do it in some way, like, but you need to be capable of that, to be able yourself to hold this space, because
Mhm.
Sometimes we think we can hold space for something, and then there's gonna be, if you haven't like cleared and be exposed with a wide range of human expressions, emotions, and a scream from a desperated grieving heart to someone that is having like crazy release with the body, or someone that is bawling insanely for 2 hours. Like we need this exposure, this exposure, and we need to clear the discomfort of that, to really come at a
Mhm.
place where we can hold space with really the heart and the compassion and the like whatever's happening, the anyway your body's going to release. You don't have to
Yeah.
worry about it. I'm here and I'm holding really the space for that. And that's extremely important, and safety is the foundation. And to really provide safety, you need to go like super deep within the
Yeah.
safety
Right.
of yourself, right? There's no way around that. Like, don't,
No.
we must not be fooled by just like, oh, you can be safe, yeah, be vulnerable with me. No, it's like I
No.
need to show that I can be first, and then people feel they can.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's the way of leading in the work that we're choosing, that we're doing, that we're called to at this time. I mean, I have a background of working in therapy for just about 30 years, and in my retreats over the last 5 or 6 years, I've seen something very different than someone walking in for your traditional talk therapy, or doing things that were very structured, in a box, confined. Not that there's
Mm-hmm.
anything wrong with it, but
For
when
sure.
you blow that wide open and you expand it in a whole other way, it's such a completely different experience.
100%.
And
Yeah.
so it's, I think, being afraid to push those walls down and to expand that, and to just to explore and to go on
Mm-hmm.
the journey. So oh my God, there's so many things we could go on for hours, but
Yeah.
I know you've got a couple really cool things that are kind of coming up over the next
Mm-hmm.
few months. I know this fall you've been asked to be a
Yeah.
part of the new Human, which is super exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I
when
have
is that?
so
Can you share
yeah.
that?
Yeah, so I have a few things in the summer, but there's a retreat for men that's going to happen on August 15 in Lumby.
Okay.
And then I'll be at the Rise Wellness Festival, playing with Amy and Connor, two people I do events with as well.
Yep.
Um, and then yeah, the new Human, like, yeah, I mean, this is an incredible opportunity. I'm so excited. I'm definitely nervous about it as well, because like I've never been in front of that many people.
Yeah.
But I know that like I know that once I'll be there, it will break the ice, and will. But that's a huge step for me. I've done things with like, yeah, 30, 40, even like 60, 70 people, but that's gonna be like 500 or something like that. So it is definitely a big jump. And yeah, I'm here for the ride.
Yeah.
It will be a cool thing. And I planned to do something in two parts with the voice first. So I'm really gonna do like a voice activation with these people, and do the yell as well, collectively, from a place of like liberating and processing this underlying shame, grief, rage that we can have. And then we'll lay down, and I'll dive into the other part, the vulnerability and bringing love through the music. So I think it's gonna be pretty wild, for me first, and then in a room like that with that amount of people, I think it's gonna be beyond
Oh,
work. But yeah, I'm so excited for that. Yeah, it's
yeah.
awesome. And then essentially, so I'm moving into a new place, in Vernon, on a beautiful place that's like on 5 acres of forest on Silver Star Road. And I'm gonna have a space for like to work with people. And so I'm gonna be revamping all my one-on-one work, and starting some new work, everything in like containers for different emotion support through grief, inner child thing, and things for the rage and anger. And just like I'm revamping everything kind of within my business for that, once I'll be there in August. So I have cool stuff coming up there to more like one-on-one with people that is coming. And then the last thing that I'm just starting to do is recording journeys and then offering audio journeys to people that I'll put out on my website and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I have going on right now and for this year. And
It's
yeah,
powerful. So
yeah,
many great things, amazing things. So I'll share all of it too for everybody, but you've got Instagram kind of seems to be your
yeah.
favorite. That's your platform. You've got your website. If people are, they've got questions, they want to work with you or even just hop on a phone call, is sending you that direct message, is that the easiest way to kind of touch base with you?
They can do that, or they can go on my website. There's a contact form that you can fill and ask anything and send that to me.
Okay.
I'm not too picky right now. Yeah, if it's like a longer thing and you want to type and like be more in depth, go on my website at the bottom. You type. I think right now it's even like just contact us or book now, and it will leave you into something to write, or always open like to DM on Instagram if it's just a way to connect as well. Both of
Yeah.
these things can work for now. Yeah, 100%.
Perfect. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
and maybe
Yeah.
one day we'll collaborate on something.
Oh, it's already, I planted the seed. You didn't know that. Well, it's fascinating because I just, yeah, it resonates so deeply on so many levels, deep soul levels. And it's really fun to explore and to meet people. I mean, I'm in a pretty remote little town. You're in the Okanagan where, like, all kinds of modalities are
Oh
everywhere. They're all over
my
the
God.
place.
Yeah.
And, as I get hot, this energy is moving through. But, it's so powerful. Like I said, I laugh because I sit in this little kind of like, logging town and like the middle of like the north, pretty rednecky kind of whatever. And here I am, like
Mhm.
spreading my glimmers and my light and doing my thing and just kind of going with the flow. And I'm like, it's interesting because I grew up here, so everybody has these versions of me. They know all these versions. They think they do. And now I'm like, I am busting those wide open and kind of coming out as, kind of like your birds. It's like, no, I'm going
Mhm.
to spread my wings and I'm going to be whoever the hell I want to be because
Mhm.
that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah,
And so it's really fun I get to connect with people all over the world. And I'm grateful for technology as much as the pain in the ass sometimes.
hmm,
I get to connect with people from everywhere and bring the glimmers and the hope and the heart-centered work and all of these things, even if it's not just, but even on my podcast or however we can share it, because we could change a life just by a conversation,
100%. Oh, for
right?
sure. Yeah.
We can give people
Yeah,
hope.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I think that's what people are looking for. They're looking for hope.
yeah.
They're looking for that glimmer. That's been my word this year, is glimmer.
Cleaner, yeah.
That little thing that they can attach to, that can take them on this journey
Mm-hmm.
back to
Yeah,
themselves and back to their really beautiful, authentic version of who they
yeah,
are.
yeah,
So thank you for trusting the journey and for saying yes and
for sure.
showing up. And
That was
I'm going to
fun.
share all the particulars for everybody.
Yeah.
Just,
Oh,
yeah, awesome, awesome.